My name is Rhapsody and welcome back to Shadows over Loathing. In the end of the last episode, we have acquitted Patricia Williams of the crime of writing Peter Proctor is a duty head over here in the stalls. Although, this root cellar requires a German combination lock 5-letter word, and we have been asked by Delia Putnam, who we're seeking the house key of in order to prevent a house fire there. We're seeking her key, and she says that we need to find it with some magic way, as she's lost it in the woods. So my immediate assumption is that we're gonna need to, divine its location using the magical tools that I happen to know already to be in this cellar from the future. Has this conversation progressed? Okay, it has not, so I'm not gonna have more access here, unfortunately. Wait. Can I make enough moves that the game ends? Okay, no. Doesn't appear so. Door to this house is unlocked if only you had a way to unlock things. There's literally nothing in that direction. I mean, yeah, it mostly seems like it's reasonable at this point to go back to the real time. I guess it is entirely possible that it's lost still. Seeing as the Putnam house burned down. I guess it's entirely possible that the key is still out here, loose. Is it also possible that one of the names here is going to be what I actually need to provide to the lock? Ooh, here we go. Peter Proctor. He was a duty head until the very end. I make a rubbing of this with the rubbing paper and I get a grave rubbing. You make a rubbing in the gravestone. There's someone who will be very interested to see this, or at least that you will be very interested to see the look on his face when he sees this. I mean, yeah, I guess. Let's just go tell Peter Proctor that someone defaces his gravestone. See if it makes him a kinder person. A different kind of person. A different kind of person. Show Peter the robbing of his grave. Hey Peter, come here a sec. Huh? What do you want? I've got something to show you from the future. Like I'd care about anything you have to show me from the poor, dumb future. Oh, I think you'll be interested in this. You hold up the rubbing of his tombstone and waggle it in front of his face. Hello, I'm Peter's grave. Peter grabs the rubbing and stares at it. What? That's right, kid. Duty head, right there on your own gravestone. That's what happens when nobody respects you, because you're an arrogant jerk to everyone all the time. But you're young, and you've still got time to change. See what I'm saying? Okay, fine, I'll try to be nicer to people. Good boy. We did it. I'm gonna ask Delia about the key. There we go. Delia, where'd you say you lost your house key? It was somewhere around the woods inside of town. I wish I could be more specific. I just kind of spent a lot of time wandering, There we go. That's it. Never mind. I don't need a magical way to find it. I just need to wander about. I need to engage with my wanderlust until I find it. I found some fragrant spores in the meantime. You spend some time poking around the woods near Sandwich Village, hoping to find Delia's lost house key. You give up quickly, though, as finding a 230-year-old needle in a haystack miles wide seems unlikely? Maybe you'll come across something later that'll help. Some kind of lost metal finding device. Until then, this is clearly a wild goose chase. You did manage to find some funky fungus spores, at least. Fragrant spores found. Okay, well, thank you muchly for giving me information that's relevant in this instance. I know that I need to use a shovel to do some digging. But where? But where do I do the digging? Was it in the cave? I don't remember. Beppos Hole. As you notice a particularly cobweb-strewn copse of trees, you get closer to it and you catch a glimpse of a big hole full of spiders in the middle of it. You can just barely read the old wooden sign next to it declaring to the world that this hole belongs to Beppo. I go check out the terrible spider hole. I pretend I didn't find it. No, I'm gonna go here first. Yeah, that's all the fungus I could try and tear off the wall. It's also time to change our shoes. Good point, well made. What are we going to be wearing for this episode? Let's go with the steel-toed boots. We value our toes a lot more than the rest of our feet. Nice. Not too loud. Want to go look for a fun guy somewhere else? Absolutely. Mine. Let's check the mine. Excuse me? The future version of yourself strolls up to you and hands you a fat wad of meat. You know it's the future version and not the past version because you don't remember this happening before. You gain 300 meat. Here, take this meat. Technically, I guess you should be repaying it to the future me, but that's me now, so you'll have to do. What? What's the point in giving me meat if I have to give it back to me later? You'll be making meat more easily later, so it won't seem like as much then. Just think of it as a no-interest loan. On the contrary, I am actually interested. They roll their eyes at you. Sheesh, future you is a jerk. Huh. Yeah. Anyway, don't forget to pay you back or the universe will probably implode or something. I go on my way. Oh, wait, no. Wrong time of day to be going down it. Well, wrong time of day, excuse me. Wrong time of time to be going down here. Exactly. We're gonna need to turn back time. Dun-dun. Then we can find a way. Dun-dun. To dig into the earth. And bring up... Is it cabinet key, maybe? No, that version of the cabinet's empty. I do believe this is where I needed the shovel, right? Right? Support beam's lousy with termites. Shine the flashlight in the hole. It is a geode? No. Maybe it was just the grave and the entryway that I currently had earmarked as my shovel requirements. Don't know where you are, much less when. Alright, fair enough. I'll step back through again. Just absolutely could have sworn I had more that I could do with the shovel at this point. I want to quickly go check the dam as well, in fact. Oh, we didn't even get an event while we were going. I'm deeply surprised by that. Fish and wildlife. Shovel. Hey, smelled flour. It smells as good as it looks. I'm not gonna dig that up and take it home. Maintenance access if I need to go to a different time. So, let's do so. Crystal Dream Dam construction site. Can my hot rod? No, my hot rod still will get its hook stuck in here, unfortunately. Large dude's in a coma. All's fine. And those are just going to be all of the valves again. Nope. I've had a wild goose chase with this shovel. That's okay. Getting a little bit more familiar with the rest of the landscape that may be important to some of these as well. Junkyard, was there anything up at the top of the junkyard that I would be able to interact with? Just off to one side of the trail, you see two things at roughly the same time. The first is a whole flock of those horrible murder fairies, dancing about merrily and laughing in shrill little voices. The second is a bloody carcass of a medium-sized bear that they're hopping up and down on and occasionally chewing. Oh, and there's a third thing. All of the fairies stopping what they're doing and looking at you. One of them pulls out a revolver and giggles, another one flips a straight razor and makes a noise that sounds a lot like a confused and dying bear. Absolutely, I fight them. They pose, as far as I'm aware, no threat whatsoever to me. There we go. We do really good AoE damage as well with Molly's 8 individual instances of damage to an enemy. Obviously also with our Sacks of Violence. Orchestra Strike to take out one of you, follow up with a hit against another. Beauty. Just you and me, buddy, you fairy wackadoo. Got him. Fairy Cake, Fairy Star Wand as well, a magical weapon that deals your Mysticality +3 physical damage and reduces the target's Mysticality by 2. Gregvich also got +1 max HP and we got a Fairy Cake. 21 experience as well, so fighting fairies is... good. I dug up the appropriate stuff, right? We found where the Geiger counter was going off here, and then we dug it up, which means I have used the shovel in this area already. Is there anywhere else they wanted me to use a shovel as well? That's where the old compasses were. Very soon to just mark this location off mentally as, nope, never need to go there ever again. Oh? Ringing the bell would stir up some angry fairies, so this is a way for, I imagine, a little bit of repeatable combat in order to get some experience. Experience is very, very important to me at this point in time. I'm not getting it very quickly from non-combat. So if I have to kill my way to level 10, I don't know what level I am right now, but if I had to kill my way up there, I'm getting there. Make any weapon into a gun, which will use Moxie to determine its damage. Interesting. If we had an enemy that was like really annoying mystically, I would have the ability to turn a fairy star wand into a Moxie-based weapon, but it would still reduce the target's mysticality by 2. Gun parts. I also wonder if this makes it ranged, or if it also changes that. Fairy dust and fairy dust still isn't clean enough. This can't just be infinitely repeatable, right? Because if it is, then, I mean, basically the difficulty of the game is your patience. Fairy knife, fairy cake, a skull wand, and a wooden handle as well. I'm not sure what those fairy twig thumpers do with these things, since they're way too big for their tiny little fairy hands. I'm certain it's not clean enough. Okay, we started with an additional enemy this time, but then they did immediately explode, so it's not like it's gonna lengthen the fight much at all. Excuse me, that's not who I thought I was targeting. That's A-okay. We have the ability to be a little inefficient here, and everything's fine. Gregovich gets stronger. We get all items we've seen previously as well. You've cleaned out the fairies, at least for now. There will probably be more fairies if you come back tomorrow, if you want to, for some inexplicable reason. That's the tunnel that we can squeeze through, and it goes to a different area, right, just in case I wanted to get around without having to fight those fairies in the first place. Yeah. I think we're, getting pretty close to being able to mark this area off again. I ignore the water. And yep. That's enough of a guarantee for me. Beppos Hole's in the other direction. Was it Fairyland maybe that had some? The trees in this clearing are tagged for felling. Seems like a big city construction company plans on crafting a crossbow to kill God. I untie the tags and get 5 experience. Molly! What's up? Working on your dance moves? Sure, kinda. Except this dance ain't about cutting a rug. Hey, hey! She makes a sharp gesture and the blade of her flick knife snaps open. It's about cutting an enemy of some sort, see? Right, yeah, I get it. Molly will now act earlier in combat. Excellent. No diggables. I could have sworn. You know, I'm starting to get to the point where I actually think what might have happened is the diggable that I am looking for is in Ocean City somewhere. I'm definitely not going to make my way all the way back to Ocean City at this point, so let's continue over to Beppos Hole. In a ditch next to the dirt road you're walking down, you spy a pile of coal mine tailings. It must have fallen off a truck or something. You remember your History of Rocks professor telling you that you could extract a little bit of hair grease from this stuff if you really put some elbow grease into it. Law of equivalent exchange right there. We get a stylish gel. Grease in, grease out. Wow, just look at it. You'll never be as cool as this slime. 5 experience as well. The plaque says Beppos Hole on top of it, and then some fine print. Beppos Hole is named after Beppo P. Succarino. Soricchio. Soricchio? Soricchio. Siricchio. Beppos Hole is named after Beppo P. Siricchio, who purchased this plot of land in 1903 with the stated intention of creating a shark sanctuary. He managed to dig one decent-sized pit, but before he could fill it up with sharks, it filled itself up with spiders. Or perhaps it would be more accurate to say that spiders filled it up with themselves and their offspring. Their teeming hordes of awful, venomous offspring. It's the opinion of Crystal Dream Lake Historical Society that Beppos Hole should be avoided at all costs. In fact, we probably shouldn't have even put this placard here, or included it on any of our maps. May those you leave behind forgive us. Fascinating. There aren't as many spider eggs in here as there could be, but there's still too many. A wriggling mass of spider webs. You swore long ago you'd never deliberately walk into an impenetrable mass of spider webs. A good idea. This wriggling cocoon is ruffled person-sized. So it's either a person who's been cocooned by a spider and is slowly suffocating to death, or a person-sized mass of baby spiders. It's gonna be the second! I talked to him, her, them. Hello in there? Are you a person, or a mind-breaking quantity of baby spiders? Is that the kind of noise that a whole lot of baby spiders would make? Okay, I'm gonna cut it free. Oh, yes! You cut apart the cocoon, bracing yourself for true horror. Fortunately, it turns out just to be a guy in there. Wow. Thanks, friend. You had me worried there for a sec. They call me Doc. I came here to get free gauze. Got a bit more than I bargained for. Hi, Doc. I'm Ryan. I'm assuming that your doctor hat thing means you're literally a doctor? In the sense that doctoring is my profession, yes. In the sense that I have a legal license for practicing it, no. You were looking for gauze? Yep. The webs from big spiders like this one make really great surgical gauze. It's strong, self-adhesive, and even sterile if it's really fresh. Unfortunately, I kinda bit off more than I could chew. You can chew it too? No, this time I mean metaphorically. Some of the great big spiders that live down Beppos Hole caught sight of me. I don't recommend messing around with that hole, especially if you're flush to the gills on medicinal alcohol. I see. Oh sure, I can teach you about the hobo code for all kinds of medical terms. He teaches you how to read his handwriting. And then some hobo code. Hobo code knowledge increased. Hey bud, you should know about the hobo camp. You know, there's a hobo camp just outside of Ocean City. They could probably use a doctor. Great, I could use some patience. Much 'cause I'm too eager to get doctoring. That's a joke that works better out loud than in print. But anyway, see you there. I could use some patience. 15 experience. Okay, bye. Definitely a lot of spiders in this whole jump and invite song. Look, I know that they're gonna poison me, so why don't I get non-poisonable? That seems the appropriate response to this, right? I had some way to prevent poison. I cannot recall entirely what it was. It was a ring, right? Maybe? When you apply poison, apply 3 extra. No, it renders you immune to poison, the Bizarre ring. And the goat stomach. Jump and invite some. Oh boy, they're big and near. Oh, they're also immune to poison. And yeah, they are intending to themselves perform poison. Cool. That's a vicious chomp right there. Alright, oh no, the Sacks of Violence is now doing less damage in AoE because of that. That tracks. That said, oh, I mean, Gregovich I should definitely trade at this point. Gregovich is not going to do much for me for the rest of this fight, I can already feel. There you go. Good work, Molly. There are now slightly fewer spiders in Beppos Hole. I get a spider fang, spider venom sac, and glob of spider webs. Spider webs Is it still web if it's not in a web shape? I suppose that's a question best left to the spider philosophers. Increases your physical armor by 3 until you use another potion though. Spider venom sac poisons an enemy for 3, combat item. This is the organ where spiders keep their poison. The organ they use to play their hymns is kept in the spider cathedral. And the spider fang melee weapon. Hey, it deals your moxie plus 2 physical damage and causes 2 poison. If you think about it, a bite with big enough teeth counts as a bunch of stabbings. Fewer spiders is better spiders, I agree. Definitely a lot of spiders still in the hole, apparently. Let's change Gregovich the Snake to someone who might be more useful. Biting enemies for physical damage and then healing me seems good. Alright, Maurice. Come along the ride. On the top side, 6 damage would take that out. Unfortunately, don't really have access to that. Fine, I'm just gonna do the AoE then. It's just almost always gonna be the right choice, I think. Although maybe it doesn't matter if I'm immune to poison. I kill them so quickly that really I just need to do more damage on the AoE. You get a spider leg wand, magical weapon for mysticality plus 2 physical and poison. This is likely to start some arguments about whether or not various things technically count as wands. You also get a creepy forest fetish. Adds plus 3 spell damage to a hat. Wow. Oh, that's a powerful buff to be able to give a thing. Makes you immune to poison until you eat something else. Is the spider rays there? I don't think I need the immunity to poison as I just mentioned. So let's trade ours over to, there we go, the saxophone keyring, which really, come on, it's so good. Also, just like the fairies, I imagine at some point the game will be like, okay, stop. Stop doing that. You're taking them all out. Boy, that's a lot of poison. Shame it doesn't matter. Spider eggs! 2 lots of them. Fewer spiders is better spiders. You've cleared out the spiders for now. There will probably be more spiders if you come back on a different day, though. Excellent. A wriggling mass of spider eggs. I'm glad we cleared that area, seeing as it seems like a relatively easy area to have cleared. Is there anything I need to alter back? Yeah, let's get Gregovich the Snake back. Actually, Gregovich the Snake back? Maurice the Mosquito... No, Gregovich the Snake. Yeah. I can make him poison twice. This seems so useful. Alright, distillery. Let's check the return slot and then buy some red cola as well. Finally! Vampires! A spooky looking lady is guarding the front of the old distillery. Perhaps she's a vampire? She looks spooky enough to be a vampire. Oh, is that racist? I approach her. She glares at you as you approach, her eyes flashing blood red. Be gone from this place! You have no business here! I do, actually, and I'd like for you to invite me inside. What? No! Don't you have to? I thought that was one of the big vampire things, that if someone asks you to invite them inside, you have to do it. That is nearly the most opposite of truth that is possible for that to be. Ah, darn! Leave this place at once, or the consequences will be most dire. Ah, come on, don't be like that. What's eating you? If you do not leave, the question will be, what is eating you? And the answer will be me. Okay, that was pretty good. Yeah, you really set me up for that one. I trick her into letting me pass with my bamboozlery. Okay, I'll go. I have an appointment anyway. Oh, hey, do you have the time? I do not wear a watch, but, She shades her eyes with one arm and looks up at the midday sun. Probably about 12:30. Ah! Her hair bursts into flames. With a screech, she turns into a bat, which is still on fire, and escapes into a hole in the side of the building. 6 experience. Huh. Okay, then. That was always allowed. There's the hole. This is the hole the guard fled through. Grandpa Joe's Quality Spirits. Costs 5 moxie for us to get in there, or we can have a look at this. We have the mob combination! This door is locked with government-issued combination lock. Must be a prohibition thing. I'm gonna squirm through. Hey. The door is locked from the outside. You'll have to go back out the hole you came in. Almost everything on this shelf is busted up trash, but there's one unsmashed crate of booze. I grab it. A crate of rum. Nice. What does it have as a description? The quest item with prohibition on. All varieties of liquor are technically for pirates. I only have to take that to the speakeasy. I guess this is where Grandpa Joe kept all of his broken glass. The booze that used to be stored here is now stored in booze heaven. Ooh, that's some hobo code right there. Hobo code is printed on the side of this barrel. I translate it with my 9 hobo knowledge. The code reads, "Be careful not to drop your handkerchief in this barrel." You reach in the barrel to see if anyone ignored the advice, and they did! A booze-soaked handkerchief. It's an accessory for 5 stench armor! That is a lot of armor on a single item. And an accessory, no less. It's a laboratory workbench. I'm gonna make some potions. Some fancy potions using my miscellaneous chemicals. Ooh. Some sleaze armor. Legitimately, +5 to sleaze armor? Sounds good to me. I'm gonna make another fancy potion, and I'm gonna make an aqua mortis this time. As for our basic potions, I'm gonna make a pomade for +1 to moxie, and 1 for mysticality and 1 to muscle as well, just in case I need any of those in the near future. It used to be a still, and it still is. Basically a Hedberg joke right there. It's crazy that this still is still here after all these years. There's a label on this vat that reads, Grandpa Joe's Extra Fancy Garlic Schnapps. Wow, maybe Prohibition? Maybe it wasn't rather Prohibition that put this place out of business. I mean... stench armor? I open the valve. You crack open the valve and dump about 12 gallons of pure distilled garlic juice on the floor. Wow! Even with stench protection, it's a nasal experience you won't soon forget. The vampires completely flip their collective shinola. Some of them turn into bats and fight each other to be the first out of the hole in the wall. Some turn into mist and shoot through cracks in the ceiling. A couple of them just kick the front door until the lock breaks and run out of the place. After that, you hear several screams as they realize it's still daytime outside. That should satisfy Don Toblerone and his boss. Hopefully they won't mind the smell. Alrighty, this vat left intentionally empty, and this is an unfriendly vat. Do not use it. Yeah, but still, this drum is almost certainly empty. I bang on it. It emits a hollow, sober clang. This sofa is soaking wet. One of those mist vampires must have been sitting here. The vampires left a crate of booze on the floor. I get a crate of gin. The mirrors on this vanity have been broken, but the drawers still work, and I see what's in them. Bacon stone earrings and a scabrous ring. Scabrous ring renders you immune to bleeding. This ring makes it look like your finger got chopped off and sloppily reattached. And bacon stone earrings, delicately cut stones on delicately twisted hooks. Pure elegance for the ear who knows what it wants and how to get it, plus 30% to item drops. The table is strewn with various vampire stuff, which I picked through. In order to get the boots I imagine I'll wear in next episode, shoes. Vampire boots. These were invented when a cobbler accidentally mispronounced vampire bats. Makes you float like a spooky vampire. There's also a bloodle, which we've seen before, and cosmetic wine. A vampire's metabolism won't process real wine, but vampires still want to look like cool wine people. That's a moxie potion right there as well. Neat. I mean, I can bang on the drum again. No real reason to, no real reason not to either. That's the hole through if I need to go for it. Yeah, no. Looks like we're all cleared out here in the distillery. Excellent. Let's have a little bit of a wander. You push through the woods into a small clearing and discover a group of 3 vampires, because apparently you aren't allowed to discover anything good in any of these clearings. Well, I say 3 vampires. There's 1 vampire, 1 bat, and 1 small cloud. So it could just be a vampire, her pet bat rather, and the leftovers of a bean's lunch. I assure you, we are all 3 vampires. Ah, crap, she heard me. I want to talk to them. What's the deal here? Are you demonstrating the vampire evolutionary line or something? What? You know, like bat poked out of the cloud and then the humanoid vampire evolved from the bat? No, is the bat a caveman vampire? No, if anything, this is more like their 3 states of vampire matter. What? You know, solid, liquid, and gas. Bats are a liquid? Look, the metaphor is not a perfect one. Are we going to fight or what? I keep talking with 6 Moxie. Honestly, I'd rather just keep talking about vampire physics. This is interesting. If you 3 are solid, liquid, and gas, that implies the existence of a 4th kind of vampire, right? Look, I already said it is not... Well, actually, yes, now that you mention it, there is a 4th kind of vampire. A plasma vampire? Yes, when a vampire is destroyed by sunlight, they sometimes become a high energy, but short-lived vampiric spirit which we call Maurice. Which, now that you mention it, is rather analogous to the plasma state of matter. Neat! Well done. I had never thought of this before. You are very intelligent for a human. Ah, heck. I was just kind of stalling for time, to be honest, but maybe bats are liquid. Everyone turns and looks at the bat, who shrugs wordlessly. I should go find some of the other vampires with which to discuss the implications of this. Good evening, human. The vampires disappear into the woods, leaving behind the remains of their picnic. I get cosmetic wine as well as 8 experience. I check it and buy some blue cola. We've seen that before. You see your past self coming up down the road towards you and remember that 300 meat you owe you. Maybe you want to pay that back so the paradox doesn't destroy causality or anything like that. I want to pay them back. Here, take this meat. Technically, I guess I should be repaying it to future me, but that's me now, so you'll have to do. But what's the point in giving me meat if I just have to give it back later? Well, you'll be making meat more easily later, so it won't seem like as much then. Think of it as a no-interest loan. On the contrary, I actually am interested. You roll your eyes. God, what a cornball joke. You're frankly embarrassed to have made it. Yeah. Anyway, don't forget to pay you back or the universe will probably implode or something. I continue on my way. You find a decaying nightstand discarded in a ditch, which is kind of a weird place to find a nightstand. Maybe someone got so mad about stubbing their toes all the time that they angrily drove it to the woods and threw it out of a car. I check the drawer. Wow, there's all kinds of useful stuff in here, like junk mail and a match. Ah, nuts. Oh, sorry, wrong person. Oh, nuts! Hold the line! I stepped in some kind of weird mushrooms. Ugh! Spores all over my good dancing suits for crying out loud! Dancing as in actual dancing or as in a back alley shootout? Why'd they want a different pair for each? They ain't that dissimilar. She wipes the spores off of her high heels with a leaf and hands it to you as though you'll know what to do with it. I get some fragrant spores. Let us stand in the distillery for one moment as we pull up our to-do list for taking the compass back to the Lighthouse Keeper, which I have been avoiding doing. I have apparently no side quests, so sure. Let's actually give him the compass. I'd absolutely fight the fairies. No ifs, ands, or buts about this one. They need to die. This is my duty. Got him. 7 experience, as well as some other stuff too. Wasn't something just randomly buried out here? No? Okay, sure. It's the Lighthouse Keeper. I talk to him.
Hello again. You found that old compass you were looking for?
I sure did. Here, what do you think?
Oh, it could use a polish, but it seems to be in good condition. Alright, I'll swap you. Let me get the old Geiger counter back when you do.
You got an item, the Cursed Compass. This compass always points to the evil version of True North. It should not be followed. Thanks!
Oh yeah, no problem. Get along now, I got a lot of important nothing to take care of.
Okay! He gives you a polite nod, but it doesn't seem he has anything else to say. You only use 60-watt light bulbs?
Don't need much. Ain't that big a lake.
Uh-huh. We've got to come back here in the future, I have to imagine. Mine-enriched flour, excuse me? We have the ability to make some good foods. Let's make a, Let's make an iron bump at nickel. No! No, you know what? I'm gonna go with phlogistic resin. Get ourselves a hot pouch. And maybe a bowl of frosty flakes, some radium brittle, and some powerful grits. There we go. Better that I have access to them than, you know, just leave them all on the table. Of course, the Lighthouse Keeper still hasn't taken their turn. Very much suits them as a person. As you're heading down one of the idyllic paths around the lake, you encounter a giant fallen tree blocking your way forward. I move it out of the way. You heave the tree out of your way and flex your muscles at some nearby squirrels for a few minutes. I get 7 experience for having done so as well. Off to the side of the dirt road you're walking down, you see a pile of greasy rocks. A voice in your head tells you to squeeze them. The voice is the voice of your History of Rocks professor, who taught you the greasy rock squeezing technique. I squeeze it for some sordid grease. You can tell that this was used for something horrible. Let's get ourselves another red cola. Oh, your future self turns up again, this time lugging an old wooden crate.
Here, take these. Huh? These what? It's a case of antique bandages, they'll come in handy. But I can't use them. I'll have to keep them so I can foist them off onto another me to close the loop. You're just sticking me with a pointless errand I have to do later. No, dummy. You use these ones. Then ask Charles Wallace for the crate of old bandages that Murray left in the storeroom. That's where I got these. But didn't you get them from yourself like I'm doing now? No, I used those. Look, just take them. Jeez, you've got a lot to learn about causality.
I got a crate of antique bandages.
Okay, fine, jeez.
A gaggle of Boy Scouts around a campfire plead for a scary story from their Scoutmaster, as they say, plead with you for a scary story for their Scoutmaster, as they say, has proven frightfully unfrightening. I scare them silly with 5 moxie.
Yes! All the boys are crying now.
The boys are crying now, the boys are crying now. A squirrel brings back a large uncracked nut for your assistance. It takes a lot of humility for a squirrel. I crack the nut.
Your powerful hands pulverize the nut completely.
The squirrel snorts the powder off of your shoe, and you worry if you set him on a bad path. Just off to the side of a trail, you see 2 things roughly at the same time, and this is, of course, all of the murder fairies. We've seen this slightly earlier on in this very episode. Now, is Cola gonna do AoE damage to you? Wait, hang on. Cola is not even a combat item for us right now. Strange. I don't need a tin lizard. I don't really want to use any of the combat items if they're not gonna kill multiple of you at the same time. I'm only interested in wide-scale murder. Come on. That's enough poison. This has got to take one of you down with the orchestra strike. There we go. And then any normal attack, another poison. Beautiful. 22 experience, hell yes. You won. You'd be called the Fairy Slayer if they called people such things. On the side of the Crystal Dream Lake's many trees, you spot something curious. More accurately, you see something strange which makes you curious. It's a glob of sap that's hardened into amber, but it shouldn't be here. It normally takes centuries for sap to harden this much. And this tree can't be more than a few years old, sorry. I collect the amber. Impenetrable shellac. And I leave before the tree gets mad. There wasn't anything buried around Crystal's store, was there? Crystal, you have anything new to talk about? There's... Ooh. Interesting. Somewhere nearby you hear singing a languid, sultry, wordless tune that makes your feet turn of their own accord and lead you off the path deeper into the forest. Your senses feel numbed, as though you're walking through a thick fog and it's getting difficult to... brain? After a short time, you arrive at the edge of a small clearing. A pale woman in a long red dress is lounging on a rock, shaded by branches overhead. She smiles when she sees you and reaches out her hand, gesturing for you to approach. Your feet start to shuffle forward. I cannot resist her call with mysticality, so I succumb. As you stumble towards the pale woman, two vampires appear out of nearby shadows, grinning toothily. You know, as they do. Looks like you fell into a vampush. I fight them, of course. A vampire in bat form has some spooky armor, but ultimately is probably not going to pose too much of a threat to us here. There's our 5 damage AoE, the most important one. I also think I do want to maybe use a combat item here of some kind. If at all it would be possible for me to take someone out, that'd be ideal. Alas, it doesn't look like I have... Oh, nasty goo, that'll do it. With enough sleaze damage. Sure. And I throw some goo, and I'm going to follow up by taking out the brutish vampire. The piercing shriek allows to go through. And excellent. We won! 8 experience. Maybe next time they'll be more careful about who they attempt to control with mind-altering songs. I get 2 Blue Dell as well as 31 meat. I am going to spend a little bit of time between this end of this episode, by the way the episode is ending, and the start of the next episode attempting to find, through my own footage, whether or not there is another shovel location that I need to be aware of. Until then, hopefully you've been enjoying yourself. Serious playlist up in the top left, YouTube recommendation down below, and hopefully we'll see you next time.